Hello everyone. This is Startup Story Spotlight. And I am your host Lata. This is where we interview amazing founders, entrepreneurs, investors, and startup leaders, and we learn about their insightful journey with us. And in today's episode, we have a very interesting guest, Mr. Rahul Singh, who is a co-founder at Eco Home Soul, and he is here to share his journey with us today at Ecosoul Home. Uh, Rahul, how are you?
Lata, thank you so much for having me, and I'm doing great. Beautiful Delhi weather today, so it's amazing.
Ooh, wow, awesome. So Rahul, let's start a bit about you and your journey, and what do you do at Ecosoul Home?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Lata. So essentially, so I'm one of the founders of Ecosoul. My co-founding partner Arvind and I started this company in 2020 in Boston, USA. We are still headquartered in Boston, and congratulate us on our timing. We started the company, and then there was first wave of COVID, and then second wave of
Yes,
COVID, and third wave of COVID, and which is, by the way, both good and the bad, right? Of course, bad, created a huge stress on the entire planet, right? But also it awakened our souls a little bit about environment, about how connected we are, how about sustainability matters, right? So I think that's when we started the company, and happy to say that 2.5 3 years down the line, we are one of the largest eco-friendly products brand in the world. Today we are present in 11 countries, including USA, Canada, Mexico, UK, Germany, UAE, India, China, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, and so on
I'm
and so
counting. It's
forth.
actually 11, guys. Yeah.
So, so I think that's something good, right? Today we are very excited about Asia Pacific per se, right? Both from as a sourcing market, right? We have a huge presence in India. In Asia, we work with more than 100 contract manufacturers. But what excites me even more is the sustainability shift that is happening in Asia. And when 1.4 billion people change their habits of going and become sustainable, it truly drives an impact on the planet. So that's what is very exciting about the journey so far for Ecosoul.
That's crazy. I agree. I agree with the sustainability, especially in the Asia and the Indian market. That's definitely there. So Rahul, just to understand what sustainability challenges you're addressing to exactly at EcoSoul Home and how.
Yeah, Lata. So first of all, right, we are all consumers, right? Okay. And let's be honest here, we all work on a budget, right? So one of the biggest challenges that we saw 3 years back when we actually started this company is that almost 80% of the consumers, they want to go sustainable. Nobody raises their hands and say hey, I love plastic. I want to consume plastic. I want to live by plastic, right? But also, that plastic is durable, plastic is ubiquitous, plastic is cheap, right? So the biggest challenge that EcoSoul is basically solving for is making plastic not break your banks, right? So essentially everything that we produce and we sell are single-use plastic alternatives, but they are extremely affordable, right? So we are actually the first company in the world which has been able to get the price point of non-plastic products within the 20% range of plastic products, right? And that's where we think a massive consumer shift will happen in terms of adoption of these products, where you don't have to say like, okay, I have to pay 2 times the price or 3 times the price in order to go sustainable. So I think that's the sustainability challenge that we are solving for at EcoSoul.
Awesome. So Rahul, I have two follow-up questions on that actually. Recently I saw your article about the reused plastics and how they're more dangerous than anything else on the planet right now. Do you want to elaborate? Do you want to give us some light on that?
So I think there are two parts to that answer, right? The first part is like just from a pure consumer awareness perspective, today on our planet, less than 5% of the plastic, recyclable plastic, actually gets recycled. Okay, so let's just take a pause on that. So there is a whole bunch of plastics that we consume, of which a small bunch is recyclable, and even on that small bunch, only 5% gets recycled, right? So that's the reality of life, right? So one, the recyclable plastics, while it's a huge part, right, that we all want to recycle, it just does not add up in terms of circular economy. The second is when we actually recycle the plastic, so there is a cost of transporting that plastic to the factory.
Yeah,
Then there are multiple chemicals and melting processes that are used in order to recycle that plastic.
correct.
And the third thing is, after you recycle that plastic, another single use plastic product gets created. So when you look at the entire carbon footprint of the value chain, right, it's actually more dangerous to the environment than actually just producing plastic. Virgin plastic out of a petrochemical plant is actually much less carbon footprint than actually trying to recycle the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
And what we have to be aware of as consumers is that the overall impact on the planet and just not the use of the product impact.
that's true. So essentially, now nobody can actually get away saying, "Oh, but we are recycling the plastic," because that's actually more harmful, right? That's actually more toxic. So yeah,
Amen.
that's a great point.
Very true. And another, I'll add one more thing to it. Think oxo biodegradable. So nowadays we hear a lot of greenwashing terms like, hey, this is an oxo biodegradable plastic, right? Just remember, oxo biodegradable will probably take 5 years to biodegrade than 500 years. Okay.
Hmm.
But when it does, it still becomes microplastics. It still ends up in our groundwater. It still ends up in our food chains, right? So it's not like when plastic degrades, it's a good thing for environment. In fact, Europe just recently passed a legislation to ban all oxo biodegradable plastics in Europe. So
Fair.
consumer awareness becomes a very important part on how we really think about plastics.
Yes, and I think I because I of course did some research on you as well, and I did go through your profile, and I think you guys are working with some academic institutions as well to create consumer awareness about eco-friendliness in the environment, right? Recently, I
Right.
think you've partnered with IM Raipur. Do you want to shed some light on that as well?
So we are today actually, and of course, we have many global partnerships, but very recently we have signed three partnerships in India, right? So one is with IM Raipur, right? And the partnership with IM Raipur is more about, India is a treasure trove of sustainable products, right? I
Mm-hmm.
remember growing up in India, and essentially my dadi used to have thela, right? It's the
Right.
most
Yeah.
eco-friendly thing you can do, right, in
Very.
life,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know where we lost the way. We went from that thala to like actually using a lot of plastic bags. But with I Am Raipur, we are saying that there are a lot of entrepreneurs in India who actually want to work in the field of sustainability. So we are basically creating an accelerator slash entrepreneurship program in coordination with I Am Raipur to develop those entrepreneurs. Okay, so that's our first partnership in India. The second partnership with India is with CV Raman University, right? What we are doing there is essentially doing ground level training on how to produce eco-friendly products. Okay, so we are sharing our technical know-how, we're sharing our patents, we're sharing our technology, and we are saying that, hey, this can not only generate rural employment, but also, right, help people move towards sustainability by producing some of these products locally. And of
Right.
course, we are also the buyer of those products that we can actually take those products to the world, right? The third partnership that we recently announced in India is with Krishi Kalpa. Okay. So, one of the things that we have now started doing is the most sustainable way of sourcing the raw material is directly from farmers. Because farmers get to an aggregator, aggregator gets to a trader, trader gets to a factory from where we buy it. I'm just saying, like, let's just cut down this entire supply chain, buy directly from the farmers, work with the NGOs who are working directly with the farmers. One, the dollar economy gets to the last person. Okay, so
Yes.
they are the biggest beneficiary of that financially. Also, we get a very stable supply chain source as we source directly from the farmers, and we can actually do a better quality control. But the third and the most important thing is that that supply chain continues to become more and more and more sustainable, right? So those are three big partnerships that we have recently signed in India.
That's interesting. That's of course very interesting. I can, of course, India is everyone's betting on the success of India right now. So I hope this becomes a part of it, and I guess it will definitely. Okay.
I think there are two angles to that, though, by the way, right? I'm sorry if you were going to the next question,
No,
but
no, no, go ahead.
I would say, like, I'll tell you the sad part. The sad part is I still source 65% of my products from China. Okay, when we think about the markets like US, Canada, and Europe.
Yes.
Uh, I'll tell you why it is sad, because in order to develop any product market manufacturing hub, right, there are three things that are required: the availability of the raw material, availability of technology, and availability of talent pool. Let's just assume capital is available, right? There's no dearth of capital in India today, right? India is very rich in all three of these. In fact, the products that I source today, India is extremely rich in raw material, very high quality talent pool, and there is no dearth of technology. The machines are being produced in India now. uh, Unfortunately, there are no scaled players yet, so we actually need the policy push there, right, in order to really make India the green hub. But I think this is an opportunity which is as big as the IT opportunity for India. There was an IT revolution 25 years, 30 years back, and the green products revolution is happening right now, and India can be at the forefront and become the global manufacturing hub for these products. We are doing our part of that. We set up a factory near Bangalore. We are now setting up a factory near Noida. So we are doing our part in moving some of the green product supply chains to India. But we need, I think, 100 more entrepreneurs like me who actually can actually make a mark on the global scale for India.
No, no, of course, this is a journey, and I'm sure India will stand on that, on those expectations for sure. So yeah, that's definitely sure. Um, Also, Rahul, a very follow-up question. Uh, it's kind of assumed, those who are not very aware, that the eco-friendly products are not very attractive, in the sense
Not
they're
very.
not very are not very attractive in the look-alike and in the feel, right? Do you have
Okay.
any statement to say on that? Please go ahead. And how is Ecosoul working towards creating some chic products that actually awe the customers?
Absolutely. So I think whenever we look at product, right, we look at it from three angles. Like, one is the real product usage, right?
Right,
So think of a regular paper plate, right? For example, right? So you remember those paper plates that we find everywhere, right? If you put like pav bhaji on top of that plate, plate will bend, right? They're not
right,
very sturdy, right?
yeah,
So that's a pure play product specification play. The second is the look and feel and the functionality. So let me give you an example. You know, this fork
yes.
looks like plastic, behaves like plastic, more sturdy than plastic. It's not plastic. It's 100% compostable, not biodegradable. It's 100% compostable. Okay, that means when you put it back in your backyard,
It
it will
really
go
looks
back.
like plastic, honestly.
It's not. Okay, actually, coincidentally, I also have this glass here. Like, can you see this glass?
Yes,
Looks like a plastic glass.
yes. So yes,
It
yes.
it it isn't, right? So it's 100% compostable again, right? So that is basically from a product usage perspective, that hey, I'm now using an eco-friendly product. It's not feeling weird. It's regular use product I have, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the second thing we are doing. The third thing is, of course, the affordability part, right? That basically, like, hey, this fork costs same as the plastic fork, right? So you don't have to actually break your bank in order to do that. The fourth thing that we are doing, which is even more amazing, is that we are bringing brand new products to the market. So think about fully compostable Ziploc bags, like resealable bags, right? So we are one of the first options in the US shelves, which actually provides a fully compostable option. It's flying off the shelves now. We are creating partnership with some of the largest retailers of the world, which is
Mm-hmm.
bringing fully compostable diapers to the market and fully compostable female hygiene products to the market. How many
Okay.
people actually know that these diapers and sanitary pads are actually plastic? There is
I,
no way to recycle them. They always land in a dump, right? A landfill. There is no way to recycle them. The only way to get rid of them is to incinerate them, literally burn them. And millions and millions of diapers and sanitary pads end up in landfill every single year.
I agree. Yes. Yes.
And we are bringing fully compostable options to the market. In fact, we have not announced it yet, but we are signing a global deal with one of the large US retailers to bring them to the market. So I think that's something that Ecosoul is trying to solve for. Like, bringing new products, doing original material research, getting better specifications, and more importantly, using eco-friendly products should not feel weird, right? It should feel like your regular usage, right? So I think that's something that we are frantically working on.
After seeing that cup and that spoon, definitely, I think Vaishri, that's
Thanks, Lata.
actually really good. Of course. Uh, Rahul, another question. Uh, you told me a lot of things that you're working towards in the same company. You're building eco-friendly products. It's tree-free, plastic-free. There's woman empowerment involved. You're sourcing it directly from the farmer so that the dollar reaches to the last mile. So a lot of this in the same company with the same mission. This is almost too good to be true. What how are you guys doing it, and what are the extra efforts you have to put into that?
So Lata, be honest, very honest. They're like it's not easy, right? Uh, so when my founders and I, right, so essentially when Arvind and I we started that company, and my wife also joined us in the effort, right? The three of us, we said that, hey guys, if we have to build a company which truly solves the problem of being eco-friendly, right? So we have to make the DNA of the company right. We cannot evolve into a sustainable company, right? It's not going to happen, right? So from day zero, we said, from the first hiring, we said 50% has to be women employees. Just let's just make it a policy from day zero. When we actually were setting up the first factory, we said, hey, this first factory that we set up has to be in Tumkur region, like 170 kilometers from Bangalore, right? Because in order to set up a factory where you can directly source from farmers, you have to be where the farmers are, right?
Yes.
You cannot set up a factory in the middle of Bangalore and think your farmers will drive 170 kilometers to reach your factory. So you reach out to them, right? The third thing is, while it feels like, hey, we are sourcing directly for the farmers, is very beneficial, for the farmers. Yes, it is extremely beneficial for our consumers, right? The question also becomes how we are able to drive the price point so low without compromising on the quality, right? We have cut down every single middleman from the process. We have reached out to the people directly at the source, and all the benefits we got in terms of sourcing and pricing, we passed it on to our consumers, right? So that's how we try to build a business, like from day zero, and we did not try to evolve into this, right? So I think that was the hard part, because some of these choices were inefficient, some of these choices were expensive, some of these choices were very time taking. Okay, we delayed our first product launch by 6 months just to get this right first, right? Get the backend right. And trust me, the consumers will award you, the investors will award you, the market will award you for doing the right thing. It just comes naturally from there.
So the lesson is do the right thing. You will get rewarded.
Just do the right thing. Don't be in a hurry. A lot of entrepreneurs, right? They're always, I have seen, especially in the Indian ecosystem, they're always in a hurry, quarter on quarter, month on month, right? And my advice to them is, guys, take a step back, assess what problem you're solving, and have patience about it, and talk to your investors about that. Tell them that, hey, 6 months, you have to wait. There's no other option. We'll do it the right way. And I think if you have the right people on board, in terms of team, in terms of investors, in terms of partners, they will give you that time to do the right thing. But compromising today will not get you the will not lead you to the vision that you started off with. So don't compromise on that.
Vision and mission is both are important. Should go parallel.
Amen to that, right? Absolutely. Please don't compromise on that. Time will reward you for that.
Fair. And I think entrepreneurship is not for a short stint, right? Not for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. It's for forever, right?
That is true, right? Entrepreneurship is not a short-term thing, right?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is not something, hey, I'll build something in 3 years, I'll be at the helm of financial success. Please don't be an entrepreneur for that. The failure rate in entrepreneurship is 98%, right? So if you're a good mathematician, you would never be an entrepreneur, right? So essentially, uh, please, yeah. So that's something to always keep at the back of your mind. It's not a
Okay.
short-term game.
So, Rahul, on that note, basically, I was going to ask you another question, but because we mentioned about entrepreneurship and how people are now perceiving it in terms of investments and funding and all of that, what do you have to say to the public generally, the aspiring entrepreneurs? Um, who just want to start their own startup by looking at Shark Tank and the craze that's being created around startups. What do you want to tell to them? Just in one line, if you had to tell them, give them a direction, mentor them in that one line, what would you
No, absolutely. And by the way, Shark Tank is an extremely positive initiative. I think it
say? It
made
is
entrepreneurship mainstream in India, right?
very much.
It's actually some of the stories that I've watched in Shark Tank India are very inspiring, right? And some of the products that I discovered there were very inspiring, right? So I think that is extremely positive change that Shark Tank India is bringing to, to the masses in India. I would say, especially when you think about entrepreneurship and funding, right? Uh, what I would really recommend is don't build your business on the basis of funding. Funding is a really important part as you scale, right? But please do not build a business that survives on funding, right? We very jokingly say within our company, we are in the business of building a business. We are not in the business of fundraising, right? In fact, we made a very conscious size for the first 14 months of our journey. Like, 14 months of when our product was already in the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
We did not raise any external funding. And we have some truly inspiring examples here. Like, in India, we have Zoho, we have Zerodha, right? Who have really scaled without funding. And I have a lot of respect for those businesses because it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of belief in your business model, right? So before investors believe in your business model, you have to believe in your business model. Like, this works. I'm solving a real problem, right? And it's going to lead to results. So 14 months of our journey, we did not raise any funding. We proved the product market fit. We got our traction. We got our first retailer signed up. It required a lot of sacrifices. I sold my house, right, in order to fund my business. So all of that, but once we actually proved the product market fit, then we went to the investors and said, guys, now we have to expand this globally. This is a playbook that works. Okay. And in order to lead global expansion, we need to raise the funds now. And this is where it really, really helped in terms of funding.
So Rahul, did you get your house back now? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. You
Okay.
don't have to answer that. Don't worry. That's fine. So,
Not that one. Yeah.
oh, no problem. But I'm sure you'd be having a better one now. I think the company is growing tremendously. Agree?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But what I would say is look, houses come and go. What we are building is much more exciting than that.
Exactly, exactly. Everyone should hear that. That's true. That's true. Now coming back to our eco-friendly environment, there's actually a lot of greenwashing which is happening in the industry right now, right? Can you describe why your products are genuinely sustainable for our environment?
Yeah, and actually, a lot of onus on that is on consumer itself, right? That we have to be vigilant against greenwashing, right? So there are three, four things that we do right, when we actually build products at Ecosoul. So all of our materials, all of our products, all of our processes are certified by leading agencies of the world. So we don't call ourselves eco-friendly. When you say like TUV Austria will call us eco-friendly, USDA will call us eco-friendly, BPI will call us eco-friendly, FSC will call us eco-friendly. So all the leading agencies of the world, right, up to like carbon neutral business, right, they call us eco-friendly. Okay. So we don't try to blow our own trumpet. And I think that is something that consumers have to be very vigilant against. Like when they actually buy an eco-friendly product, please flip to the back of that box and say who is actually calling this product an eco-friendly product. Is it the company itself calling ourselves eco-friendly, or is it their certifying agency, right, that have truly tested the products and then giving a certification this is eco-friendly? So one we have done is like for a years, like for a year and a half, we just continuously went into the process of making sure that all parts of our supply chain, from right from materials all the way it reaches to the consumer, are certified by leading agencies of the world. Okay. The second thing is, what we started doing is, let's start thinking about the product materials that are today that are agro waste, right? So we actually started a lot of material research in terms of bagasse, sugarcane bagasse, rice husk, wheat straw, corn starch, right? All of these, including palm leaf, all of these products, if they are not converted into products, all of these materials, if they are not converted into products, they have only one use: to be burnt. So we always hear this parali problem, right? Pollution problem, right? A lot of bagasse gets burnt in boiler, palm leaf gets burnt, right? So essentially, we started procuring some of these products, converting them into products that can be exported to the global market, and that's how we actually became more sustainable as a company. So certifications and product research is two key parts on how we become uh, a sustainable company.
Fair, fair. That's interesting. That's nice. Because we've seen, I think, a lot of greenwashing campaigns that have gone around, including FIFA World Cup that happened recently, right? A very
That's
huge
right.
one. Yes. But I
Yes.
think we can go deeper in that later. But
And we
Rahul,
as consumer hold the responsibility on that, right? Nobody
indeed,
else is like, in fact, I
I
have
agree.
three appeals to the consumers, whoever is actually consuming a product, right? I have three appeals for them, right?
Please go
First
ahead.
is,
Please. Sorry. Let me just say it out there. So consumers, whoever's watching this, please make note of these because consumer play the most important role in conserving the environment than any entrepreneur or anybody alone does. So please go ahead, Rahul.
yeah. So I have three appeals for them, right? So one is know the reality. Okay. Only 2% of, or less than 5% of recyclable plastics actually get recycled. Okay. So the war against plastic starts at consumption, right? If we consume a plastic bottle, we might think it's going to get recycled because it's a recyclable plastic. It might not. So please know the reality, right? Secondly, check the product you are consuming. Like, it says green on top, doesn't mean it's eco-friendly. Please check the bottom of that box, right? Right. So, and figure out if it's truly recyclable. Okay. And the third is awareness, awareness, awareness. Please Google, right? Today, today information is not anyone's mandate, right? Information is very democratized, it's available everywhere. Just knowing that this glass exists, this is not plastic glass, just knowing that this fork exists, not a plastic fork, I think that's also on consumers, where actually you can simply go do Google or go to ecosoulhome.com, right, and figure out there are so many alternative products, right, for the plastic products that we consume today. So I think these are the three appeals I have for all the consumers.
I think
Please
there's
know the
also
reality.
a discount going on Ecosoul's website for Indian consumers, right? Do you want to mention that?
There is a big sale going on for Ecosoul consumers on the website. You can also join us on our Instagram campaigns, right? We are actually now getting into offline retail as well. We really want to meet the consumers where they consume, right? So essentially, we are actually expanding our brand in India now. We launched our brand in India in December 2022, and we are actually expanding frantically. In fact, you'll find us on Amazon, you'll find us on Flipkart, you'll find us in Big Basket, Amala Earth, and a lot of platforms, right?
Okay.
So, but not being just a proponent of my company, this is general appeal to the consumers. Please, guys, there are alternative products available. Just take a moment and Google them before you consume a plastic product.
Yes, that's so true. Yes. Uh, Fair. Rahul, coming back to your company, it's after all a business, right? It needs money to survive. But we are right now in a place where funding is getting a little difficult, right? Uh, you have to put a lot of efforts to do that. Tell us about your funding journey.
Yeah, so as I said, like I started, first 14 months till the time we did not prove the product market fit, we did not try to raise any funding. But one thing, what I've also discovered in the market is uh, there is no dearth of funding for good companies, right? So today, like, when you think about some of the leading
Sorry,
funds of
I'll
today,
just pause you there. All the good uh, founders, entrepreneurs say that, or the good ones
the
say that. Yes,
and like every entrepreneur is good entrepreneur, by the way, right? It's just that some ideas work, some don't. It's okay, right? It's okay to fail, it's okay to learn. uh some of the entrepreneurs that I've made who have made tremendous companies, that's their second company or third company, right? So you learn, right? So every entrepreneurship is like sports, right? You don't have a good day or a bad day. Like, it's just learning process, right? uh, Having said that, right, so essentially, be patient, right? Today, we have some of the largest funds in the world who supports us. Think Axel, think Capital Partners, Founder Bank Capital, Wave Fund, right? Funds from Europe, funds from Singapore, funds from India, funds from USA. Like, we have a lot of funds that are supporting our journey, right? We In October, November, we closed our Series A, right? And we are very close to our Series B, right? Uh, the only thing I would say is that bring the right investors on board who have the patience to grow with you, right? So there are a lot of investors who are willing to put money and they are very enticed by, hey, 4x, 3x in the next quarter. Do not get into that. Okay, be patient with your funding and be open with your investors what you're trying to build. It will take time. Have patience. uh, and bring the right people on board. But once you have the right people on board, once your business model is great, right, when you have proven the product market fit, there's still a lot of funds in the market, right? There's no dearth of fund. You have the right people, they will support you. Having said that, we did 1,000% growth last year. Like, we did a 10x growth last year. We doubled our business between December and March. We are still doubling our business between now and June, right? So essentially, we are on an extreme growth path. Okay. But more importantly, not only we are on an extreme growth path, we'll probably become profitable by the end of this year, right? So essentially, that's another important metric that investors are increasingly looking at. That does this business, if not profitable today, has a real potential to become profitable at some point in time, or is it going to be a money sink for foreseeable future? So I think those are some of the questions, if we can answer, right? uh, Good businesses will always have good money following them.
that's always true. That's never dearth of capital, like you said. Understood. Now, because we don't have much time left, so Rahul, we'll do a quick rapid question round sort of thing.
Oh my
Let me
god.
ask.
Okay.
It just answer very simply, very
Okay.
random, very rapidly. Rahul, is entrepreneurship hard?
Yes.
How much? Did you have
Okay.
a
So
scale, or is it 11
so
on 10?
when I actually started entrepreneurship, and I know it's a rapid fire, so I'll be very rapid in my answer. When I started entrepreneurship, I actually went to the Oxford Dictionary to just look at the meaning of the entrepreneurship, how it is actually defined, right? So essentially, in Oxford Dictionary, it is defined as setting up a business activity which involves financial risk and financial successes, right? Of course, I'm putting this very simplistically, but it was more financial definition of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is much more than that. It will test your patience, perseverance, faith in yourself, faith in your business model, ability to work with people, right? No entrepreneur can do it themselves, right? They need very solid team, right? Who supports them. So it's a lot, and it's very hard to build, and you're very lucky if you have the right team, right people, and right environment around you. So
That's
I'd
true.
say there's a lot that is not in your control.
That's true. That's true. Ecosoul is a great example of make in India for the world. Do you agree with that? And how much do you believe in the success story of India, the potential success story of India?
We have everything that is needed to make us the global eco-friendly product manufacturing hub, right? We
Hmm.
are slow to start, to be honest, okay, and we are slow to execute. But I think the from a potential perspective, we could become the country that becomes the global hub for eco-friendly products.
Yeah,
Okay, made in India for the world, right? Today, whatever we produce in India, we export almost 95% of it.
Fair, fair. That's awesome. So you believe in very much the success story of India. That's out there. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Double thumbs up on that one.
Yeah. So you're definitely a patriot.
100%. Born Indian, always an Indian.
Very fair. Awesome. Rahul, just in one line, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build a sustainable business for the environment?
The best time to start is now. Okay,
Yeah,
we are at the right trend from a consumer perspective, from an economy perspective, from a policy perspective. Simple advice.
that's true. That's true. Guys, forget just leave everything. Start your sustainable business right away. Awesome. Rahul, my third question is what is your relationship with your mentors and also with your employees? So there are two different set of people, your mentors and then your employees. What is your relationship with them that keeps you going?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when I say employees, by the way, I'm talking about the team, right? And that's a very important distinction, right? So the team is someone who enables you to execute upon your vision, right? So I tell only one thing to my team, right? What we are doing is not only good for us, it's good for the earth, right? So let's be very driven by that passion. Nothing that we are doing today is a rocket science. Nothing that we are doing today is hard, and nothing that we are doing today is sort of worth to be stressed about, right? So let's go solve a real problem, do something good and build a company that we are really proud of. So that's something that is my message, consistent message to the employees. About mentors, I'll basically segregate them into two parts, right? So I have had many mentors from whom I learned the business, right? I learned different skill sets. I learned how to take risk and manage risk, right? And I really learned how to build systems and processes to turn into to run a successful business, right? But those are one set of mentors. Like I found them across the world. Okay, but there is another set of mentors that I found in India, which were like even more inspiring, right? So I learned from a small shopkeeper how do you run or manage the labors on the ground, right? I learned from my warehouse manager, who, by the way, is not even a graduate. I learned from him how do you devise quality control measures that can be understood by someone who's only 10th grade pass out, right? Believe it or not, right? Running a business at a high level, data analytics, marketing looks amazing, but building a business from ground up requires you to know these skill sets as well. So I have had mentors who were right at the top of the corporate ladder, and I have had mentors who some cases are my employees, that I learned a lot from, right? So essentially, I would like to thank both sets of my mentors here.
Okay. The rapid question went a little huge, but we got the idea how your relationship is with your employees and your mentors, which is really great, by the way. We all
Thank
want
you.
employers like you. Okay,
Thank you.
last question. What advice, and just give me one or two or three lines on this. What advice do you like to give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build a sustainable business for the environment?
Absolutely. So, guys, just if I want to capture it in one line, then the line goes like this, right? Sustainability is not just good for business, it is good business today, right? If you are thinking of building a business in the field of sustainability, first of all, write to me directly. I'm helping entrepreneurs across India. Feel free to do that. The second is essentially the time to start is now, right? India is going through a seismic customer mentality change, move towards sustainability. We are a $3.5 trillion economy now. We will be a $10 trillion economy in not so distant
Can you repeat
future.
that number? Can you highlight that number? 10? Please say it with me.
Trillion
10?
dollar economy.
Oh
Yes,
man. Yes.
India will become a $10 trillion economy. I have absolutely zero doubt about that. So from 3.5 to $10 trillion, guys, this is the time to be an entrepreneur. If I want to be an entrepreneur anywhere across the world, I would rather choose to be in India. So please do it now. Do it don't think too much.
Proud Indians on that. Uh,
We are
guys,
absolutely proud Indians.
yes. So guys, that's it. That's it. That's the advice for the aspiring entrepreneurs and for consumers. If you're listening to this, please go check out Ecosoul Home as well as join hands on this sustainable environment that we're trying to build for the future. Because, and Rahul, would you say it with me?
We don't
We do not,
inherit Earth from we do not inherit Earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. So look at
exactly.
your children and think you are borrowing it from them. And what are we
That's
leaving
true.
for them?
The earth has to go on for as many years as it can, and we need to be responsible to be able to maintain that. It's a huge responsibility, and we must take it on ourselves. We must. That's it. That's for consumers. Thank you so much, Rahul, for joining on this interesting conversation. It was so lovely having you here. Such a down to earth person, like I said. Such an amazing entrepreneur, building great things, and we hope the best for you and your company going forward. For